Welcome everyone to Raw Sport. My name is Ahmed Al-Houli and we're back with another very special guest. In our presence today is Mr. Ryan Daye. Ryan, welcome to the show, buddy. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. Thank you for having me. It's great to be on here.
My absolute pleasure. Ryan, who is Ryan Daye? Where did this journey start for you, sir?
Well, it started like many people, just in the backyard with my old man training. I never competed. I just always enjoyed training. My old man was always big on, if you want to go out, you just got to know how to defend yourself, blah, blah, blah. Nothing serious. Did it for fun, just because we always had a home gym at home. Formerly, I was a professional cricketer. I went to England, played over there, played a lot of first grade cricket over here in WA, in all the junior emerging state squads and all that, etc. And then COVID hit and I couldn't go back to England to play professionally over there. So I started training down at Big Rigs. Obviously trained prior with my old man and nothing serious though. And then just come up with a bout where I was training, and I'm the sort of person that if I'm training at something, I want to compete. And then I had just got into fighting, and here we are, four professional fights later, about to hit my fifth one.
Wow. So did your father have a background in boxing, or your grandfather, or anybody in your family?
Funnily enough, no, they didn't actually. We've always been the family where we would have gloves or we would have something, and it's just go on then, like chuck them on. Let's see who's who. You know, like we have a little flick, have a muck around, but never a proper professional fighter or boxer in the family. No, not at all.
So you walked straight into the pros?
I did 2 exhibitions, and then I went straight into the pros. Correct? Yeah.
Exhibitions don't really count on records, so
they do not. They do not, and it was all learning as well. It was all learning, and I think that's what got me sucked in. Was the first one, the second one, and you go, oh, hang on a minute, it makes you so uncomfortable, but it's great to chase that uncomfortable feeling, because when you get comfortable being uncomfortable, that's where you grow, I feel.
Transitioning from cricket to boxing, talk to us about your cricket journey, where that started and where you went, because you pretty much played A-grade cricket, so it's pretty high up.
Yeah, and I played for Warwickshire over in England, county cricket over there. So my dad was a professional cricketer, so that's where the cricketing comes from. In my opinion,
did you say your dad was?
My father was, yeah. My father was. He played for Somerset, played for WA over here as well, back in the days with the Gilchrists and the Martins. Very tough era. Yes, that's correct. Yep. Yeah. The Langers, and you hear stories about them boys, how they're just hard nuts and how they work and what they did. And the Mike Hussey here, he always used to say Mike Hussey was one of the hardest workers he's ever seen. And I feel like that translates to the way I prepare for my boxing fights now and the way I train. In my opinion, cricket's harder than boxing. I know it might sound ridiculous, but I feel like cricket is harder, especially as an opening batsman as I was. You get one chance. You're out, you sit down for the rest of the day. Sometimes you get out and you're not out. You got to deal with it.
Huge statement. How can it be harder?
That is a huge statement, but cricket is a very, very, very big mental game. It looks like fun when you're playing on the road, having fun with your neighbours, but when you're out there and someone's bowling 150 k's an hour trying to take your head off, it doesn't become very fun.
Well, Phil Hughes passed away. He got hit in the neck, or
tragically, he did. Yeah,
yeah.
He did, yeah. That was the Sheffield Shield match. So
yeah, so
yeah, it's a risky take when you step out onto any field, whether it's boxing, whether it's cricket. You always have that factor on you, but I guess that's why it makes it that more passionate about it, isn't it? Because you know what's on the line. You just got to go out and do it.
Were you an opening batsman, or what was your role?
I was an opening batsman and wicketkeeper.
So you had a lot of pressure on your shoulders.
I did, mate. Especially when the team, if we rolled a team or something for bugger all runs and we had to go bat the night before, and then I've just kept all day, and then you got to go bat and try and get through the night. Yeah. Not fun. Don't miss it. Do not miss it at all.
Well, the only convenient thing is you get a fair few breaks. So, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Sit down, watch. And then none of that is you build good chemistries with the boys when you're sitting down watching. If you get out or something and you're down on yourself, but the old boys always pick you up, isn't it? It's the same as the training boys that you're training with the gym as well. Some days you feel flat and you just see them, they pump you up and you feed off their energy.
Being an opening batsman, the ball's fresh, the ball's moving everywhere. Your hand-eye coordination's got to be amazing. And being a wicket-keeper, same thing. Do you feel that's helped you with your fighting?
I think so, absolutely. And with the back to opening the batting in the ball's harder, the field's up, they usually got 3 slips, no cover. You can score. You can go out and be aggressive and back yourself and go score. And I think it's a very similar thing with the boxing outside effect, where you go in there, you be fresh, you go in and just go to work. And wicket keeping, I think that's harder because you've got to be switched on every ball of the day. You can't be, every ball is technically going to be coming to you, and you've got to be switched on, switched on, switched on. And it's just that it's the mental game, isn't it?
Absolutely. Cricket's a huge game in Australia, huge in England. They're national sports in both countries. Obviously, cricket's an international sport. Do you think that the fact that you played at such a high level and in front of so many people, you think that's helped you being in the ring under the bright lights in front of so many people? Because that's where a lot of people go to water.
No, I don't think so. I think that's one thing that I've had to learn the most about in my first few fights was handling myself on the night. I think what helps me the most, or what has helped me the most, is just being in a professional environment and understanding how professionals prepare for events or how they prepare for upcoming matches. So, you think you train hard by hitting 100 cricket balls, but then you see the likes of, who you play with. When I play with Joel Paris or when you play with the state cricketers, they're hitting thousands of balls. They're drilling. Then they do their rehab. They're in the pool. They're doing their recovery. They do everything to the fine tee. And that's just one thing I'll try to bring in to the boxing scene or in my training anyway, is my preparation, my recovery, and my professionalism. That's the main 3 things.
Ryan, taking you back to your pro debut. Take me back to those moments, walking into the ring. You're walking out, the crowd's screaming, yelling, so on. You walk through those ropes. Then the bell goes. Take me through that journey, please, because they're pretty monumental moments.
That was probably one of the biggest nights of my life, in the fact of I walked in there and I went gazelle on the head, like a deer in the headlights. And I was lucky enough for my first fight, I managed to get him away in the first round. But being honest with you, I was lucky too, because I went and all of a sudden my instincts just kicked in, and I was probably lucky that it worked out the way it worked out, where I got him away. But it was an eye-opener of a night for me. And because after my first fight, I did actually have a bit of time off, because I thought to myself, wow, that's the first time I realised we ain't playing this. But that was a changing moment of my life and my career, where I went, oh, okay, hang on a minute. Am I really about this? And then if I'm coming back, I'm not going to be feeling like this again, where I need to be mentally, physically, everything prepared to enter this ring.
How does it compare to your cricket debut? Pro debut, I should say. Yeah.
No, there's nothing like it. It's completely different. Of course, you get your anxious and your butterflies before you go out to bat or whatever, but the boxing, I was, when you're going out to fight another man in front of all your friends, family, anyone and everyone, it's a different feeling. And then that feeling gets addictive. It gets addictive now.
Not looking past your fight in 3 weeks' time. Where are you going with this journey? Like, what's the ultimate goal?
The ultimate goal is I want to be the best fighter that I can be, and I am just going to keep training, preparing, and working the way I train and prepare, and we'll see where it takes. But my ambitions and goal is to be way further than just having a few fights. And that I own my own gym now. I've decided to go down the path of being a fighter. I've chose this, so I plan to fulfill it and do this now. So I'm training full time. I'm in my gym as well, training during the day, training my coach back and forth, and I have dedicated and set myself up with a lifestyle where I am all about this. I am all in on this path. So I am just going to take it one fight at a time. But as long as I've learned, I need to keep challenging myself. The bigger the challenge, the better I work.
Ryan, who's that person that's been a rock for you in your career? The one that you go back to for advice, the one who tells you do this and don't do that based on his life and what he's been through.
It would have to be.
Or
It would
she?
have to, or she. It would have to be my father. He's a very big figure in my life. Me and him we're pretty much the exact same people, but he's a lot older and I'm at my age. And he's lived a life too. He's done a lot of things in his life, and he's very knowledgeable man. And I always stick to him for words. But also my coach, my big rig, Daye Phillips. The way he is with me, he has made me want to keep going down this journey with him too, because I'm so thankful I crossed paths with him, because he's a great human being and he brings out the best in me, and I really appreciate him.
Wow. Very, 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 very powerful words. Ryan, who is your boxing icon? Is there a fighter out there that you really want, that you really look up to?
I am a boxing nuffy, where I just love good boxing. But I think the generic answer would be Floyd or something like that.
No.
I really love Danny Swift Garcia. Beautiful fighter, Errol Spence. Even though he lost his last fight with Terrence, I love the way that they work. Obviously, you love your tanks. I'm a boxing fanatic. I love my boxing. But Danny Garcia, I really love his style and the way he goes about his business too. So Danny Swift Garcia, bit of a different one, but I love his style too. Philadelphia, beautiful style.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. I've had the pleasure of meeting Danny in 2016.
Yeah, there you go.
For his fight with Robert Garcia, him and his father and his brother.
Yep.
Very, 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 very nice people outside the ring.
Yep.
I know his dad puts it on a bit, but outside the ring, he's a completely different person.
Yep.
Okay, Ryan. You've competed at the professional level your whole life. You've seen the rise of how to rise through the ranks of cricket and rising through the ranks of boxing. What would you say boxing is lacking? Because cricket's a pretty big sport internationally, and you've seen what it takes to become a pro cricketer and the different levels and training regimes and programs in place. Whereas boxing on the other side, it's very different.
Yep. Yeah.
What would you do to change? If you could change something in that journey for boxing, what would you do differently?
It's hard because it's two different sports. Like obviously, cricket is a team game. It's a camaraderie sport. But boxing, you're on your own. You feel it when you feel crap and you rock up to training and you're getting punched in the head. It's a bit different than going in the nets and hitting cricket balls, isn't it? But
I'm talking more systematically, because you've been through the cricketing system from A to Z.
Yeah, the cricketing system with the programs is more like the structured.
Correct.
You get your training programs. You have to do your KPIs, which is how you felt before the session, how you felt during the session, how you performed, blah blah blah. All your homework that at the time I didn't really like doing, but now I look back and I'm like, wow, that has instilled in me the little 1%ers that you need in this game. So maybe things like that, like along those journeys, and then I still do take that into my boxing now. So not so much how I felt before session, but I try to get my volume of how much volume I'm doing in the week, so I know if I'm overtraining or if I'm in the right bracket of how much I should be training. But I reckon systematically is what I would bring in.
There you go.
I think it's hard though as well. Like, I know if you're in the amateurs and the Aussie amateurs, I think they do a bit more like that program. But when it's just you and your coach and you're in the pros, you just go and help further, aren't you? Train and just beat the other man, aren't you?
Very different, absolutely. Well, there you go. That's what we wanted to. I sort of wanted to outline the contrast between the two systems and the sports. Why I think the sport, boxing as a sport, could learn a lot from other sports and implementing these programs and systems. And that's what I really wanted to highlight, because you've been through two now.
Yeah.
Been one that's very systematic. Development program, so on and so on. Then on this side, it's just you and your coach and your gym.
Yep.
It's very, very different.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is.
All right. You have an upcoming fight in 3 weeks. Can you give us details, please, where people can tune in and watch?
So Fight TV, 23rd of August. It's a Friday night. We're at Metro Cities. Main event for the WBC Australasia title, the silver title. Triller and Fight TV is the streaming platform it's on.
And where can people find you online?
My Instagram is Ryan K Daye. just the letter K in the middle. And I just have Instagram. That's my socials.
Fantastic. Ryan, thank you very much for joining me on Raw Sport. Before we wrap things up, is there any parting words?
Firstly, I'd like to thank you for having me and having the chat. I would like to say that I am ready to rumble on the 23rd of August, and I am going to make a statement fight this fight. Mark my words, I am going to put on a great show. That's all I'd like to say.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ryan Daye. Thank you very much for joining me on Raw Sports. Take care, everyone. We'll catch you.